What's going on with Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson ahead of Sunday's game against the Broncos? There's two different stories being told. Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome into your Denver Sports Daily for October 31st. Let's go.
Taking you through your morning headlines, it's Denver Sports Daily with Rachel Vigil.
The two-time NFL MVP was held out of Ravens practice on Wednesday, and there are two different narratives that are coming out about the situation. First, Jackson wasn't spotted on the field by Baltimore media, and everyone was thinking, okay, it's the first day of the NFL week, essentially, so that's not necessarily that big a deal. But then this is where things get a little bit strange. After practice, Ravens head coach John Harbaugh told reporters it was a rest day for Jackson. He cited that they have played a lot of football, and the veteran QB just simply needed a day of rest. Now, this is where it kind of took a little bit of a turn because the Baltimore's injury report told a completely different story, saying that Jackson was officially a did not practice DNP with a back and knee injury. So that leads us to be like, well, who's telling the truth? Is he dealing with a little back and knee soreness, but just needed a rest day and he'll be back out at practice today? Of course, we'll keep you guys updated on that one because this is a big one. But let's just say that Lamar Jackson isn't a go on Sunday. I'm assuming he's going to be, so let's not get that mixed up by any means. But it would be journeyman Josh Johnson who would be the backup QB. And if he's on the field, Denver certainly has a much better chance to win come Sunday. But like I said, I'm assuming Lamar Jackson is going to be out there. And it really feels like Sean Payton is also assuming that Lamar Jackson, two-time NFL MVP, is probably going to be out there making moves. And Sean Payton definitely knows that this will be one of the toughest challenges so far. Take a listen.
This will be our toughest challenge to date by far, and this is a real good football team. So, getting back to last week, we're not going to be able to afford a few of those errors against a good team like this.
You can't afford any of the mistakes that you had last week. We know Sean Payton really harped on the fact that they had turnovers. He didn't like the way that they ended the game, allowing the Panthers to go down and score a touchdown to make them have 14 points instead of 7. There's lots of things that the Broncos are going to be cleaning up, and we heard from Courtland Sutton. We've heard from Patrick Surtain, all of the players following the game on Sunday versus the Panthers. And it seemed like the message was very, very clear from Sean Payton. It simply wasn't good enough. We want to see that confidence continue to build. And it feels like the team is really starting to buy into that. Now, what about the rookie QB, right? His game is being compared a lot to Lamar Jackson because of his ability to run the football, which is great in the NFL, don't get me wrong. But I'm happy that we finally saw Bo use his arm, specifically last week too. We saw some really nice throws. We saw some really nice catches, but we also saw things that were more than just 5 yards. We saw a couple 15-yard plays, a few 37-yard plays. Those are the good things you want. But Bo, when it comes to Lamar Jackson, he doesn't necessarily want to be compared to him either. Our good old friend Romy Bean tweeted this out yesterday, said, Bo Nix asked how he feels that some of his rushing stats compare to Lamar Jackson this year. Nix laughed and said, if I try to do some of the things Lamar does, I wouldn't be here. He's special. I definitely don't want to be compared to him in the run game. Well, a lot of people are comparing him. So I feel like it's a good thing. Take it as a compliment. But Lamar Jackson is very, very special. Don't get me wrong. Bo Nix can be special. Lamar Jackson has definitely changed the way the NFL looks at quarterbacks with his ability to move. So it'll be interesting to see the balance. And I feel like I've talked about this a lot this week, the balance on how they're going to use Bo's legs and Bo's arms this week in Baltimore. So nice little Bo Nix tidbit right there. And I think it's funny that he's laughing about that comparison. We got some injury reports for you, of course, because Broncos back out at practice yesterday. Delarian Turner Yell, the third-year safety, practiced Wednesday going through paces on the field for the first time since he teared his anterior circulate ligament on New Year's Eve of last year against the Los Angeles Chargers. Almost a full year he's been out. The Broncos now have 21 days to evaluate Turner Yell and decide whether to activate him from the PUP, the physically unable to perform list, or shut him down for the season. Turner Yell was one of 2 players placed on the PUP list at the dawn of the regular season. The other was linebacker Drew Sanders, who tore his Achilles during an April workout. I feel like a lot of people would love to see Drew Sanders get back out there. Obviously, dealing with Achilles, it's going to take a little bit, but having Turner Yell back out there is definitely a good move for the Broncos. He was really, really valuable on special teams. He was a core special teams member for the Broncos last season. He played 71% of the special team snaps in 2023. which placed him third on the team. And he also started in a pair of games at safety in week 3 and week 4. If you remember last year, we've had some suspensions with some former players who allowed Turner Yell to get the start there. Now, while he did return to the field, fellow safety PJ Locke remains sidelined. He suffered a thumb injury last week and has not practiced since October 23rd. And then we also had right tackle Mike McGlinchey, who did not practice with a knee issue. McGlinchey missed 4 games with a sprained MCL earlier this season. So very curious if this is just a rest day and essentially for McGlinchey, or if it's starting to bother him again. So a few injury updates for you right there as we move on to the NHL now, because we talked about it a little bit yesterday. The Colorado Avalanche had a new goalie in net. Things haven't been looking too good in the goalie field for them. But unfortunately, Colorado allowed 3 goals in the first 6 minutes last night as they took on the Tampa Bay Lightning down at Ball Arena. The Bolts got out to a really, really fast start. It was Nikita Kucherov, a name that so many people are familiar with, who would get Tampa Bay started from a feed from Braden Point, scored on Kanonen, the rookie. Or I guess not rookie, the newly acquired goaltender for this Colorado Avalanche team. So we also got some update news on the injuries for the Avalanche, because unfortunately they can just not stay healthy. A leading goal scorer, Ross Colton, won't be on the ice again until December. So head coach Jared Bednar announced that Unfortunately, he has a broken foot and he's expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks. He suffered the injury against the Chicago Blackhawks on Monday night and was spotted leaving Ball Arena on a walking boot. All of that we knew, but now we know 6 to 8 weeks, which is just such a massive bummer. Miles Wood is another one that people have been like, when is he possibly going to be returning? Jared Bednar said 7 to 10 days with a nagging upper body injury. And then the Avs, good news, are aiming for a Tuesday return for Arturi Lehkonen against Seattle. This would be massive for them as well. Just to have another presence back on the ice as they continue to battle. Here in just a second, I'm going to tell you some really good news first when it comes to Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon, but then we're going to get into, could the Avs possibly be making some trades? And some people think so. So the duo of Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon continue to shine, though, because Makar has become the second defenseman in NHL history to begin the season with a point in at least 11 consecutive games, joining the legendary Bobby Orr. Now, MacKinnon, meanwhile, added a pair of assists to extend his own point streak of 11. So good news right there on that front. And I know that Cale Makar is chasing Wayne Gretzky as well to possibly, I think his record is 15 consecutive points, but it's really cool that he is still in the conversation when it comes to a guy like Bobby Orr. We'll see if he can continue adding to that point streak as well. But like I said, the Avalanche are currently down 5 of their top 9 forwards, and were forced to play defenseman Oliver Kylington on wing in their most recent loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's a massive bummer and a massive, massive issue. So being down so many crucial names, the Avs have in fact started looking for some help. According to Sportsnet, Elliot Friedman, in a written 32 thoughts, general managers are starting to talk, and the Avalanche have a particular focus. Friedman goes on to write, "You will not be surprised to hear Colorado is looking for forwards." I like this. I think that they do need some help. Unfortunately, injuries happen everywhere, but go out there and make sure you can utilize this time that you have with guys like Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar, Nathan MacKinnon. They need to get through a miserable stretch where 5 of their top 9 are out. So yeah, they're on the hunt. So be prepared to possibly hear some names that begin spiraling around the trade talks to see if they do, in fact, bring somebody in, because it is such a bummer. They will get Val Nichushkin back, hopefully mid-November. That is right now on track. And then we still have no idea for Gabriel Landeskog either when he could possibly return. So those are some of the big names right there. But lots of Avalanche news on this Thursday. Some of it definitely spooky, as we are, of course, celebrating Halloween today. Now, in case you're just in need of a good laugh, apparently an anonymous NBA starter. I don't even know how that's possible that it can be anonymous and how, who this person is talking to. Well, they came out and said that Jamal Murray is easy to guard, and Jamal had the perfect response to it. Take a listen.
NBA Central tweeted that an anonymous starter said, "You're easy to guard now." After your performance tonight, what do you want to say to that anonymous NBA starter?
They said I'm what?
You're easy to guard now after the slow start.
Who said that?
An anonymous NBA starter.
Well, that's why they're anonymous. Simple as that. Appreciate it.
Honestly, it's just like such a good response from Jamal Murray. That was, of course, asked after they had their game on Tuesday night, excuse me. Just honestly, the perfect response. Again, I don't know how you can be anonymous at any point now. Like, who is this person talking to at NBA Central that's not willing to put a name to his quote? And I'm sorry, it just seems a little bit ridiculous. It's not a good look for whoever it is. And it is what it is. Like, if you're going to say it, come out and speak it with your full face in front of it. And let's see how Jamal Murray can take you on, because I would love to see that. We know Jamal Murray can hold a little bit of a grudge. So I'm curious who it would be. Some other NBA news that's not exactly related to the Denver Nuggets, but I feel like we talk about this all the time because he's definitely ditched a few games here in the Mile High City. The 76ers have been fined $100,000 for statements made about the health status of Joel Embiid. The NBA says public comments by head coach Nick Nurse and team president Daryl Morey were inconsistent with Joel Embiid's health status and in violation of the NBA rules. I did not realize this, but Embiid has yet to play in a game this season while dealing with a quote unquote left knee condition. We know that he has pitched plenty of games here in the Mile High City. Like I've said, we know it seems like anytime there's a primetime game, we're not going to see a whole lot of Joel Embiid. So interesting that the NBA is finally cracking down on this. We knew this a couple weeks ago that they were looking into it, and yet they end up fining the 76ers $100,000. We'll move back to football and just a few little breaking news stuff for you. Bo Nix has been named Offensive Rookie of the Month. So we'll talk about that towards the end of the show as well, which is exciting. But we'll stick with this one. Von Miller is back on the Bills' practice field. He served a 4-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy. Miller was arrested in November of 2023 after being accused of assaulting his pregnant girlfriend, but denied the allegations. The case has since been closed. And on Wednesday, Miller said, "I'm in a great spot. I'm just happy all of this stuff is behind me. Since I've been here with the Buffalo Bills, it's either been injury, PUP, or suspension. And I'm just happy to have all that stuff behind me for the first time in 2.5 years and able to just focus on football. I'm in a really good spot, just being able to put all this stuff behind me and just be able to move forward." I don't know how many times he said, "put this all behind me" in that very short quote, but Von Miller is happy to put that all behind him. Last one we got for you, of course, in case you missed it last night. Well, the Dodgers won the World Series. Walker Buehler closed out the World Series and shut the door on the New York Yankees as the Los Angeles Dodgers captured a 7-6 victory in a heart-stopping Game 5 last night. Remember how I told you I watched Game 4? And I was like, that grand slam was absolutely amazing. Well, unfortunately, I missed it, but I did catch up on the highlights, and Freddie Freeman was an easy choice for the World Series MVP after proving a crucial 2-run single as the Dodgers erased a 5-run deficit in the 5th inning. Freeman homered in each of the first 4 games of the series, then drove in 2 runs with a clutch 2-out single during the Dodgers' 7-6 win on Wednesday night. This title is the 8th in franchise history, can stand behind the Dodgers trophy from the pandemic-shortened season in 2020. And then the Dodgers become the first team in World Series history to clinch and come back from down 5 or more runs. So yeah, that's when it comes into that heart-stopping stuff. They had a major comeback. They also became the first team in MLB postseason history to fall behind by 5+ runs, erase that deficit, and fall behind again, and yet still win the game. So history was made last night as the Dodgers continued their hot streak, winning the World Series. So congratulations to them and to all baseball fans. Next time we probably talk about baseball on the show will be, in fact, when the Colorado Rockies have opening day in April, because that's just how it tends to go. But Bo Nix winning Offensive Rookie of the Month. Let's see, Trey, do we still have these stats from yesterday on Bo Nix? Do we know that? Let's see if we can pull those up real quick. In case you guys don't know, Trey is our producer behind the scenes. We absolutely love him. He does such a fantastic job. But of course, with some breaking news, you got to pull out the Bo Nix stats as well. Good morning and happy Halloween, Miss Rachel. Good morning. Happy Halloween. I would love to know, what are you guys dressing up as? It is my niece's birthday today, so I'm going trick-or-treating with her. Perfect. We got these stats. So let's talk about a little breaking news when it comes to Bo Nix. He had a fantastic game against the Panthers with that rating of a 102 or 124.2. His longest throw of the day, 37 yards, like I mentioned earlier on in the show, 284 yards, most passing touchdowns in a game at 3, and then most total touchdowns in a game at 4 against the Panthers. So it's no surprise he's looked real good, and Sundays definitely helped him come in, and I love to see him be named Rookie QB of the Month. So congratulations to Bo Nix. Let's see. Reading your guys' comments. I love that everyone is saying all that the Dodgers did was buy a championship. Like, there are so many comments about that. I've seen so many tweets about that as well. It just kind of makes me laugh. NBA players getting paid for 82 games and literally playing like 50 is either criminal or genius. I would have to agree with that. You guys let me know where you sit on this, because it's true. A lot of them do not play all 82 games. It's actually very, very rare. Hopefully it'll spark Jamal to go off for the rest of the season. Jamal Murray is one of those guys where he definitely holds a grudge. I know I mentioned that when we were talking about Jamal, but I feel like he needs it. I feel like he needs like a little kick in the butt to be like, hey, Jamal, you're Jamal freaking Murray. Go out there and ball out. So hopefully that does happen. I would love that. Sean Payton playing the psychological games perfectly, bashing Carolina on the way out and giving Baltimore their flowers on the way in. I think Sean Payton is also just being very, very honest, and I think he can't really hurt you. Let's be real. He definitely says what he thinks, right? We all remember the Nathaniel Hackett comments that were made. So hopefully it just doesn't bite him on the butt. Bashing Carolina on the way out. Carolina is a bad, bad football team. I think everybody knows that. That's no surprise considering where they sit. I feel bad for Bryce Young. I feel bad for a lot of players in that organization. And then Baltimore is obviously one of the best. They could totally win a Super Bowl. Bringing in Derrick Henry was one of the best things that they ever did. They needed a really, really good running back. They got that. So giving them their flowers on the way in, I also think is just truthful. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, you can't compare the two whatsoever. Totally agree. And Bo Nix does not want to be compared to Lamar Jackson. So agree with that one for sure. Sounds like Lamar is pretty banged up. How is he going to perform after 5 sacks with 12 hits? Oh my gosh, it is a party in the studio next to us, you guys. I don't know if anybody could hear it, but they are going crazy. It is definitely Halloween and things are fun. It'll be interesting. I'm curious to see Lamar get back out there. So we're going to definitely have to pay a little bit of attention to that today, how he's looking from the media perspective. Of course, the injury report and coach saying something totally different does make you question what the heck is going on, but definitely interesting. I would love another Walton family member to buy the Rockies. Could you imagine if they just owned like all of the teams here in the Mile High City? How wild that would be. That would be seriously so crazy. Good teams beat bad teams, and the Denver Broncos are really good football. No apologies from DBC. Go Denver Broncos. I don't know if I would say they're actually, you know what? I'm going to say this. We're going to learn if they're a really good football team this week. We are going to learn what Sean Payton is made of. We are going to learn what Bo Nix is made of, and if this defense is actually as good as we think. So, yeah. Crazy. Real quick. Also, just another stat for you guys on that Bo Nix stuff. I'm getting group text right now. And Will Peterson, the wonderful Will Peterson, this will be on an article at denversports.com very, very soon. But Nix being named the offensive rookie of the month. He is the first one since Clinton Portis in 2002. Holy smokes. Congratulations to Bo Nix. Happy to see him getting those national awards for sure. All right. That is going to do it, though, for your Denver Sports Daily today. Come hang out with me and myself on Coffee Break, 12 p.m. We're going to be talking about sports. We're going to be doing our picks, just having some fun, chatting all the things that we need to know. Of course, now talking Bo Nix being named Offensive Player of the Month, too, which is obviously great. I want to make sure, am I getting that correct? Offensive Rookie of the Month. There we go. I want to make sure I'm getting that correct. But you guys, I appreciate you. Also, in case you feel inclined, it's also my niece's birthday, but it's also a guy that you guys all know very, very well. That is James Marilat. Go wish him a happy birthday as well. And we will see you guys tomorrow for a Friday edition of your Denver Sports Daily. Bye, guys.